Hello YouTube, welcome to my channel. I'm Bella and today I'm going to be discussing controversial couples in popular culture. Don't know what it is about 2021, but everybody seems to be complaining about couples that are completely fictional. Whether it's Nick and June from The Handmaid's Tale, Fred and June from The Handmaid's Tale, Serena and the Canadian guy, Serena and Fred. The list is endless, or June and Luke. The list is endless. That's The Handmaid's Tale. People complain about that. Also, Joker and Harley Quinn never seem to get any breaks, even though they are the modern Punch and Judy show. That never seems to get any breaks. Also, Batwoman and Catwoman, people never discuss those. They quietly shove Batman's emotional abuse of Serena Kyle and neglect to the corner, and they don't want to look about it. All they just want to focus on is the fact that Joker and Harley Quinn punch each other. And there's the whole Batwoman and Wonder Woman, will they, won't they thing going on. Yes, also Lord Voldemort and Bellamort, or Bellamort, Lord Voldemort and Bellatrix gets a good kicking every now and again. I've devoted a whole series, 4-episode series to Bellamort. I'm not going to be discussing that here, but yes, everybody does that. And Punchline and the Joker, that also gets a good old punch up, and people are like so confused. Basically, I'm going to settle this. Punchline and the Joker. Punchline loves the Joker's ideas, so she's an inversion of Harley Quinn. So Harley Quinn loved the Joker as a person. Well, actually, she loved Jack Napier, for want of a better name. She loved him as a human being, and he would have loved her back, and he does, but he's insane. So hence the punching. Punchline and the Joker. Punchline fell in love with the Joker's work. So the cool-hearted steel with knife stabbing, the ideas that the Joker has as an insane criminal. So it's an inversion of Harley Quinn. Kind of like how Wonder Woman and Harley Quinn are both the shadow. Harley Quinn is Wonder Woman's shadow. In DC, she's the fourth pillar. Anyway, moving to the side of that, yes, we should spend some time discussing Batman and Selina Kyle. Basically, for those people who are not aware, Batman and Selina Kyle have had several children. Selina Kyle hasn't parented them, she's given them to the state, and Bruce has got no clue. Apart from that, also, recently, yes, I know, I'm getting there, hence the t-shirt, as I'm sure people are aware. Before we even get to the t-shirt reference that I'm wearing, I'm also going to mention something, because obviously we've had the Netflix He-Man series, Masters of the Universe Revelation Part 1, there will be a Part 2 at some point. It's the whole Skeletal Evil-Lyn thing. Now, as a child, I watched the original 1980s film animation He-Man and Shera TV shows. It was quite obvious that Evil-Lyn and Skeleton were far more than evil overlord and henchwoman. Far, far more. Their dynamic was complicated. Skeletor respected her intellect, and he would allow her to contribute to ideas. And yes, he would allow her to boss the other hench people about when he wasn't around, and she was basically second supervisor, or number 2. In the movie, which I haven't actually reviewed yet, which is from 1987, there is a scene which clearly tells you between Skeletor and Evil-Lyn. Skeletor's on the throne in Castle Grayskull and Evil-Lyn is kneeling. Yeah, I'm not going to even go there. But it basically implies that they are far more intimate than previously thought, because originally people were sort of like, what are they? I think they might have. And then the movie came out. Yes, the movie bombed. Frank Langella's performance is epic. Yes, it's a B movie, but it's settled the question. Yes, Evil-Lyn and Skeletor have had a romantic relationship either in the past or in the future, or at some point along their timeline. In fact, officially, they've even had a son when Skeletor actually had a face when he was Keldor. So that is that. That is not controversial, hence why the ending of the Netflix series happened, because that's why Skeletor could go into Evil-Lyn's staff. Yeah, because they're actually married. Anyway, speaking of marriage, recent news, oh my goodness, what is going on in the world? You know, you bounce around quite happily and then people start telling you, you know what, I think Hordak is married, and you're just sort of like, when I first heard about this, I was most concerned. I was like, really? Hordak from the 1980s cartoon? He sounds like a pig, where he did snort a lot. I was like, what? Yay? And then I was like, well, there is the whole Skeletal Evil-Lyn thing. And I was like, yeah, but that's established canon. That was put into that was there in the beginning. So, yeah, it's very, very strange times we live in, people. Strange times. Entraptor, love her, love her, love her. I loved her in the original 1980s TV show. You can check that out on YouTube. There's a scene where Imp and Entraptor are like having a mass argument as Hordak tells Entraptor off. He's like, stop! Stop! And he's like, but Imp's done. He's like, don't care. Just drive the thing. Yes. So, yeah, Entraptor was in the original cartoon. Yes, she was into gadgets and science, and her hair did do the thing with the whole arms. Whether or not she had autism in the original cartoon, I don't think so. Whereas this Entraptor from She-Ra, Princesses of Power, she clearly does. And she was written specifically to have it complete with hyper-focus on science. And she is brilliantly contrived as a quirky character. Absolutely love it. Her relationship with Hordak, brilliant. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. When people told me, I was like, really? Are you sure this is going to work? But how they've conceived that is just beautiful. But the big problem is trying to fit that into the canon going forward. And the reason it works so well in that series, in the DreamWorks series, She-Ra, Princesses of Power, is the fact that they weren't allowed to use any of the He-Man characters, which is a huge shame. But it does mean that the She-Ra universe can exist in its own little pocket bubble. Whether we will get any Hordak and Entraptor stuff in the Netflix series, I don't know. I have the sinking feeling that She-Ra probably will turn up in part 2 and probably will be Teela in this version, because if you aren't aware, Teela is actually the daughter of the Sorceress and Man-at-Arms. I'm just saying what everybody knows. If you don't know, go and look it up. Do some Googling. It's educational. So yes. So we've had Joker and Harley Quinn. We're not going to spend any more time on the modern Punch and Judy show that they are. Batman Catwoman needs actually more attention. Actually, I think he needs to be called out on his social and emotional abuse of her and neglect, because that's what it is. Then you've got Batman Wonder Woman, and that's iffy as well. The whole Lord Voldemort and Bellatrix thing that people moan about, but that is actually canon. And I've proved it in 4-episode series called Bellamont. You can check it out. Skeletal Evil-Lyn is really not controversial. In fact, people have accepted that and are quite happy with that. The only problem is I think people weren't expecting sort of like Evil-Lyn to be nice. And I'm like, well, yeah, she is actually a nice character. She saved their son. She's only really with Skeletor because he is her husband, and she's basically checking that he doesn't do anything really bad. That's one of the reasons why she gets away with going behind his back and doing extra things, and sometimes arguing against him on certain things, but he doesn't kill her. It's not in his nature to do that. The Hordak and Entraptor thing is so adorable and cute. They're like cute little cinnamon rolls. It works, but I can't, I mean, did they invite Skeletor or Evil-Lyn to the wedding? Because I know at the end of the series that they ended up doing community service on Beast Island. So Hordak and Entraptor basically have Entraptor's kingdom to govern, the Fright Zone and Beast Island. So they rule a hell of a lot of Etheria. That's massive. That is huge. But just so that you are aware, if you go back to the 1987 He-Man film, one of the reasons why Skeletor has those robots is those robots are actually the Horde, which means that they were built by Entraptor. Yeah, welcome to the new world. Anytime you see a robot, it's probably built by Entraptor. So, yes. What an interesting time we have. I hope you've enjoyed this random sort of discussion of controversial couples. Yes, I did mention The Handmaid's Tale at the start because I think it's worth it. Are Nick and June going to be endgame? Everybody is saying that they are. I personally am saying yes, they are endgame, but I think that they will meet, they will almost have it, and then it will be taken from them. And this is the only way that Gilead will be resolved. It's either Commander Lawrence dies, which leaves a power vacuum, so June then has to come in and basically manage Gilead with Nick. And the price of that is when, like, America come in to basically reclaim it, Nick will have to die to allow June to be free. Or maybe they will both die together. Yeah, she's not going to stay with Luke. Luke and June are over. June's been through so much. It's June and Nick. It's going to be interesting in season 5 because I think June is going to end up going back to Gilead. You can see that that's going to happen, and she's probably going to like run like a guerrilla army of guerrilla handmaids, which is going to be really interesting because I think that Nick's going to end up having Mrs. Keys or Janine as his handmaid in his house, possibly with his wife. So this is going to be a whole different thing. It's sort of like free Nick from the Gilead people, or do we take Nick down with us? Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like, comment and subscribe. Let me know what you think about the controversial couples within it, because I can tell you now that they are going to be even more controversial next year. But I mean, hell, if we can marry off Hordak, we can do anything. Anything, people. And yes, Lord Voldemort and Bellatrix having a child is not nonsense. Go and read Goblet of Fire after the resurrection scene. See what he says about the Lestrangers. They were faithful. They are in Azkaban. They will be rewarded. The reward is Bellatrix having a baby. Just saying. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this. Stay safe where you are. Bye!